The illustrious success of wind power with politicians. Thomas Sowell once said that politics is the art of the impossible. An example, voters in California want cheap electricity and no electricity generating plants in the state. Politicians promise to deliver both. There are three legs on which the illustrious success of wind power can be assessed. The characteristic of power generation, the availability of cheap energy storage, the consumption of materials and minerals to build them. During its intended life, a wind turbine should produce 4 times the energy needed to build the turbine itself. This number is the so-called ROI, energy return on investment. That means it has to replenish the energy used to make it and provide the energy to build its replacement. This leaves only 2 times the energy used to build turbines to do useful work like heat home or run air conditioner, or make a widget. In general, to sustain viable power generation, power plant should produce at least 7 times the amount of energy used to build the power plant, all in order to maintain the industrial economy or civilization. Wind power fails this test. Do politicians know this? Can we run the civilization on wind power? It is not possible to greatly improve the efficiency of wind turbines. There exists a number of designs, but their efficiencies are limited to specific ranges of wind conditions. Unlike solar, there isn't much room for improvement for wind power. There is also the question of location, as different regions have varied or unsuitable wind conditions that lower the amount of energy produced from installed capacity. Just like solar, wind power works about 30% of the time, but without the greater regularity of the solar. The generic answer to the question of the cost of wind power for kWh is 5 cents. This metric is useless to assess the feasibility of running the grid on wind power, as there is the necessity to supplement wind power with energy storage, if fossil fuels are to be eliminated from the grid. Currently, the minimum cost of lithium-ion batteries is about $150 per kilowatt-hour storage. If my average usage ranges from 10 kilowatt-hours per day to 30 kilowatt-hours per day, the assumed numbers of days being without any wind, for purpose of this basic analysis, being 4 days, I need at least 120 kilowatt-hours storage. In order to extend the life of the battery, I should limit the use to only 40% of the nominal capacity. It then calls for nominal 300 kilowatt-hours storage capacity. At $150 per kilowatt-hour, as the projected minimal cost is $45,000 to be spread over 10 years of battery life. Which means that to that 5 cents I need to add 42 cents. These are back-of-envelope calculations. These do not include cost of installation and other devices needed to control and convert power between the grid and battery. In reality, installed residential cost of 1 kilowatt-hour of storage is about $1,000, if we would like to be more realistic with the costs. Let's then dive into calculations. There is about 76 million single-family houses in the U.S. If every house needs on average 20 kilowatt-hours and needs reserves of 4 days of energy with the extra capacity to extend the life of battery as stated above, then it should have at least 200 kilowatt-hours allocated to it. As it stands now, minimum of 400 grams of lithium are needed per kilowatt-hour of storage. The world recovers 100 million kilograms of lithium a year. In just the U.S. alone, this would supply storage for only 1,250,000 homes per year. Where's the rest of the world? Transition of 60 years? We can assume that the cost in industrial settings is 30% of the residential costs, which would translate into $1.32 per kilowatt-hour. If you think this is too far-fetched, just wait till politicians weigh us off fossil fuels. More detailed calculations can be done to dispel the notion that the grid can be run on solar power and wind turbines alone. But this will not change these basic facts. Because of the low energy return on investment for wind power, of just 4 versus, for example, of 30 for coal power plant, the number of wind turbines to be built would have to be such that manufacturing them would consume such quantities of minerals and certain metals like copper, that is more than can be mined on Earth at this time, if it is at all possible, ever. That holds true even if an effective way to store energy would be found. The will of the politicians to push the green agenda and deliver the impossible seems to be rather a cover for something else. This is not a conspiracy theory but a consequence of limitations of the physical world. The only outcome of green energy push can be permanent energy inflation and shortages. There is no other more effective way to create lasting inflation, which would destroy the middle class. Energy inflation would spread inexorably to every aspect of economy, bringing poverty to most of humanity. There is almost no defense an ordinary American can deploy against this trend. If you enjoyed this video and would like to subscribe or like, please do. Thank you for watching. More tips coming soon. If you want to contact me, leave a comment.